Hello, welcome to Booking Through Life. I'm Mary, and today I'm going to talk about Murder Mysteries and Pride and Prejudice. Smash them together and you get a pretty good book. Anyway, I'm going to review and rank the 7 books that I've read. 6 of them are from series and one of them is a standalone. So happy Jane Austen July, and if you're in America, happy Independence Day. We often say happy 4th of July, which you can say that to anybody, no matter where you are. So happy 4th of July. Anyway, let's continue. So, as I said, I have read 7 different mystery books, some cozy, some a little bit, some sort of cozy, and some a little bit more, I don't know, I guess they say, I don't know what your terminology is, hard-boiled or something, some a little bit more serious. So here we go. Without further ado, let's talk about them. Coming in at number 7 is Pride and Prejudice and Poison by Elizabeth Blake. I do not have this book, so we'll do a floating book cover. And I'll let you know I gave it 1 star. I read this back in 2021. I checked it out at the library, and since it was 1 star, and I thought it was really kind of, I don't know, I didn't really like the writing. I decided I didn't really need to own it. There is another book. She has written another book called Death and Sensibilities. She wrote that in 2021. And I think she wrote the Pride and Prejudice and Poison in 2019. So maybe she has another book coming out soon. I'm not sure. As I was saying, I just didn't get along with it. I thought that just from the get-go, I was confused about what was going on. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of different characters. I didn't know who they were. I thought, was there a book before this? And I just, you're supposed to know who these people are. So I was really confused going in. The group of people are a Jane Austen literary society. And so they're meeting, and it turns out the president is murdered. There are a lot of Jane Austen quotes, but other than that, and being called the literary society, I didn't get any Jane Austen or any Pride and Prejudice or any other kind of feels to make me feel connected to Jane Austen, like I said, other than the fact that there were a lot of quotes. I needed a little bit more. So I gave it 1 star, and yeah. I even put it on a lower ranking than this next one, although maybe I could have switched them around. But this may be an unpopular opinion. So coming in at number 6 it's the standalone novel, P.D. James's Death Comes to Pemberley. I love the cover, and she's quite cute. She looks like she would be fun to talk to. And I liked that her dedication was to her, this is kind of cool too, this front page. Her dedication is to her personal assistant and friend and personal assistant who has typed my novels for 35 years with affection and gratitude. And her name is Joyce McLennan. And so that's really nice. And this is very well thought out, I think. And she definitely knows her Jane Austen novels. I just thought it was boring. I almost DNF'd it. So really, I probably should have put it on number 7. But I just thought that it's really more of a novel, and more of a literary novel, I guess, or more of a, it just had more substance than Pride and Prejudice and Poison. So I didn't want to, I ranked that lower. And I know this is that some people like this book, but for me, it's just, like I said, it was boring. I instead recommend watching this. This is such a good movie, or such a good, it's actually a mini series and it's so well done. I love all the actors in this. I can't remember her name. I should have looked her up before Anna Maxwell Martin. She was in North and South, and I just love her. I also love Jenna Coleman, who was Victoria in Queen Victoria in the PBS miniseries of Victoria. She was also in Doctor Who. Anyway, love the cast. This is so much better. Watch this instead of reading that. Okay? That's my recommendation. You might love this book, but I did not, sorry. Coming in at number 5 is Pride and Premeditation by Tirzah Price. And love this cover. Got Darcy and Jane, and you've got a knife and some guns up here and hat and fan, and it's just really pretty. And she looks like a fun girl. And I liked the dedication to all the obstinate, headstrong girls forging new paths. Now, she has written 2 other Jane Austen related mystery books. This one follows Darcy, Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth. The next one is Sense and Second Degree Murder, and that would have Marianne and Eleanor. And then the next one is Manslaughter Park, which I would assume is Fanny Price. Yeah, Fanny Price. It's not following just the Darcys. And Tirzah Price readily admits that she doesn't follow all of the laws and all of the customs of Regency era rules and regulations. She goes off and kind of does some things that you wouldn't see, and one of them's quite obvious, and that's Lizzie's wants to be a lawyer. And her father owns Longbourn and Sons. They live in London. Her father owns Longbourn and Sons, and he is a lawyer himself. And Mr. Collins is set to inherit Longbourn and Sons. But Lizzie is a way better detective and lawyer than Collins, and she would like to be the one to inherit it. And so she tries to prove herself to her father that she can be a good lawyer. Mr. Darcy also is a young lawyer with his father's law firm, and they kind of course, they're going to come together and clash. Bingley is accused of murdering his brother-in-law, Mr. Hurst, and so it goes. Anyway, it's really entertaining. Like I said, it doesn't, if you're a stickler for Regency era, sticking with Regency era rules and regs, then you might not get along with this. But if you can just suspend that and go along for the ride, it's pretty good. Yeah, it doesn't have all the Pride and Prejudice feels. It mainly focuses on Bingley and the Collinses. Well, Mr. Collins and Charlotte figures fairly prominently. It focuses a lot on Lizzie and her dad's and her father's relationship, which I thought was kind of fun too. Anyway, I highly recommend that one. I thought it was really good, and I'm looking forward to reading the other 2 novels in this series, and hopefully she will continue to make more. Okay, coming in at number 4 is Pride, Prejudice, and Peril by Katie Oliver. Now, this is the first of 2 so far. The next one after this, I think it just recently came out, is A Murderous Persuasion. And this is a Jane Austen Tea Society mystery. So it's present day instead of a continuation. And there's 3 gals that all work at this, I think it's Somerset University. And they're part of the Jane Austen Tea Society. And they meet in the main character, Phaedra Brighton. They meet in her dad's. He owns, he's a retired lawyer, and he owns a bookstore called The Poison Pen. And they meet in the back room and talk about murders and Jane Austen and whatever else they want to talk about. Phaedra Brighton is the main character. She's a professor at Somerset University. She is a Jane Austen scholar. When she gives her lectures, she's known for dressing up in the Regency era garb to add more depth or fun to her lectures. And she's also been hired to be the kind of Regency era expert on this reality TV show called Who Wants to Marry Mr. Darcy? Think Bachelorette meets Jane Austen. And there's a murder, and she's on the case. And so it's a little quirky, but it's really cute. It was I thought the writing is engaging. It is a cozy mystery. So if you want a stereotypical cozy mystery, I would suggest Pride and Prejudice and Peril over Pride and Prejudice and Poison. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And I read this for the Janelle-a-thon in honor of Janelle, and that added to my enjoyment. And so, yeah, I recommend this one. I thought it was quite fun. Okay, the next one coming in at number 3. The Murder of Mr. Wickham by Claudia Gray. And this was just new last year. I read this last year for Janeaustenjuly. And she has a new one out this year called The Death of Mrs. Willoughby. And the exciting thing about it is the best part of this book was Juliet Tilney and Jonathan Darcy. They are the children of Mr. and Mrs. Darcy and the Tilneys. And they are the amateur sleuths, and they continue to be amateur sleuths in the next series. So I really like that, because that was just the best thing about this book is their relationship has just all those Pride and Prejudice feels. So what she does that is I just thought was so smart was that she takes not all of them, but most of the Austen couples, and she puts them all in the same universe. And she looks at their timeline and their ages, and she ages them accordingly. So they're not all the same ages. Some of them are younger and just married. Some of them have been married, like the Darcys have been married for a while. The Colonel Brandon and Marianne have only just been married. And so she also gives them each little marital problems. She looks at their characters and the differences in their characters, and she says, I bet, this is my thinking, that Claudia Gray is thinking, I bet this would cause some marital hiccups or some things to overcome. And so each of the couples have kind of something to overcome, which I thought that was really fun too. I thought that was really smart and kind of unique. And then you have Mr. Wickham, and he's murdered. And so, like I said, Juliet Tilney, she's really kind of interested in this, and she's trying to figure out, she doesn't think that the detectives are doing such a great job, and so she's doing her own sleuthing. And then Jonathan Darcy kind of comes and helps her. And I know this hasn't gotten all great reviews on Goodreads, but give it a try. I think it's really good. The only downfall I thought, well, there was kind of two downfalls, is that I got a little bit anxious as things were, moving along, just reading the story. I'm like, is the murderer going to be one of these couples, or one of the people in the couples, one of Jane Austen's characters? And so that was giving me a little bit of anxiety. And then I will just say, for me, it's not a spoiler, but I just wasn't totally satisfied with the ending. So anyway, but other than that, it was really good, and I highly recommend it, and I am very much looking forward to reading the next book in this series, and I'm hoping she will continue in this series. Coming in at number 2 is Pride and Prescience, and or A Truth Universally Acknowledged, a Mr. and Mrs. Darcy mystery. There are 7 novels in this series, and they're all Mr. and Mrs. Darcy mysteries, as far as I know. They don't veer off into other realms, but they all have really cute tie-in titles. So again, there's 7 novels in the series. I gave this a 3+ stars. Oh, it's written by Carrie Bebris, and yeah, it's not like a super exciting cover, but it's pretty good. And I can't remember if just for Catherine and James, just kind of a run-of-the-mill dedication, no author photo. But this one for me, so this happens like right after the Darcys and the Bingleys marry. In fact, Caroline Bingley announces her engagement at their wedding reception. She's engaged to a very rich American who's planning on moving to England once he marries Caroline. And things go from there. And so almost immediately, some very strange things start to happen with Caroline. You're not quite sure what's going on. That's a mystery. There is a murder that happens. And Elizabeth in particular is really concerned about what's going on and thinks things are very strange, and starts to kind of just have these feelings that there's more than meets the eye. And so she starts investigating. Darcy does a little bit, but there's a little bit of conflict there. And so it does have a very Gothic feel to it. It does have all the Pride and Prejudice feels, which I really love that. And it has a little bit of, I can't think of the movie, the young Sherlock Holmes. It has a little bit of young Sherlock Holmes feel to it too. So if that sounds good to you, I think you'll really love this book. It was quite good, very engaging. I really liked it. All right, coming in at number 1, boom, and it is Jane and the Unpleasantness at Scargrave Manor by Stephanie Barron. And this title up here says being the first Jane Austen mystery. So here we have Jane Austen as our amateur sleuth. There are 15 books in this series, so this one will keep you busy for a while. And the last one, and it's the very last one, and it's kind of says so in the title, is just came out this year. So I've got a little bit of catching up to do. This is really good. Stephanie Barron did a really good job making this feel like it really could have been written in Jane Austen's voice, and she really could have been an amateur sleuth. She takes her diaries and her letters and where Jane Austen kind of moved around in her lifetime and creates this fictionalized murder, and Jane being an amateur sleuth. And she does a really good job. And it kept me guessing to the end. So, just really super good, really fun. Not quite as cozy, a little bit more on the more serious mystery side, and just very, very good. So that's it. That's my top 7 Jane Austen mysteries. Up until the Janelle-a-thon, those were the only mysteries I was aware of, but I found on Janelle's Amazon wish list, I found a book called Murder Most Pemberley by Jessica Berg, and I'm really anxious to pick that one up and read it, as well as continue on with the series. So let me know in the comments Have you read any Jane Austen mysteries? Do you think Jane Austen and mysteries go together, or do you just want them to be love stories? Are you tired of Mr. Wickham being either the murderer or the murderee? And how would you either rank these, or what's on your bottom? Out of all the Jane Austen mysteries you've read, which one do you rank last and which one would you put first? If you've read any of these, let me know what you thought. If you're ready to like strangle me because I put Death Comes to Pemberley at 6, let me know. Anyway, I hope you're having a great Jane Austen July. I'll see you again really soon. Until then, as always, I hope all your books are good books and not 1 stars. I'll see you later. Bye.